Hey everybody, welcome back to Ravenstead. It's time for another build. I need a little fishing shack for my village. I've got a 1/2 inch piece of foam here. I'm going to make the base of the scatter terrain. The thinner area there will have a dock coming off of it. I'll use a hot wire cutter here to get the shape of the base. Anything but square. And the straight edges just don't look very good on scatter terrain. So between the hot wire knife and a craft knife, I'll get this whittled down. I decided to make that little point of land there a little bit thinner, like it's leading down to the water. You're going to end up with a lot of factory edges that I want to take off with a craft knife here. I don't cut myself, so don't worry about that. So to get these nice smooth cuts, you want to hang a lot of that blade out. Use a very sharp, brand new blade. And then just go in there and trim it away. You need to get rid of that factory surface. You can see how smooth and shiny that is. So I'll just use a little piece of rolled up aluminum foil, go over the whole surface, and then hit the edges here with this brass brush. That just gives us a little texture on the edges there. Go over all of it again, make sure we got it all textured up. Here I'm making up some lumber using the same technique, using that brass brush. And now we're going to build our little shack here. It's not going to be really anything impressive, just somewhere to keep your gill nets and barrels of saltfish, that kind of thing. So just basically making a pole shed. I'm hot gluing those pieces down. And then the siding will be just planked, as well as the roof. So we'll just clad up the sides here with our short little planks. There we go. I like using that hot glue. It goes really quickly. You do have to be deliberate when you're constructing. You don't want to squirt out too much hot glue and then have it harden before you get pieces put down. So I just work in short little rushes, shoot a little bead of glue, and then put on a few pieces. Alright, there's the roof. So the shack's almost done. Needed a little bit more support and cover on the front. That's going to end up being our rotten plank there. If any of you have watched some of my other videos, you know, that's kind of a running joke we've got going on. So this piece is laid out 4 inches by 6 inches, so that we can use it on battle grid, either a map or tiles. I'll show you that later on once the piece is done. It looks pretty good, kind of blends in. So that's our dock. So having a piece hanging off the base can be kind of flimsy, so this was a little bit fiddly as I was building it, but we managed. See, it's pretty bendy. So I added on another little cross brace to help stiffen it up. But I wanted this piece to kind of hang out there, so it looked like it was built over the water. Using a little bathroom scrubby here to make a gill net, so I cut a little section off, and I'll string that between the shed and this wooden pole that I'm putting in. Put a couple of eye bolts in there. I just made those up out of some copper wire. Had the shakes really bad. Too much coffee, I guess. And I'm just taking a leather working needle and some waxed linen thread, and I'm just kind of looping that around to make the bolt ropes for the gill net. I'll do that on the top and the bottom. There we go. In retrospect, I guess I could have made it a little bit more detailed, putting in some weighted stones on the bottom and floats on the top, but it gets the point across. So we'll just tie that in. That took a while. That was very, very fiddly. I had to take a couple deep breaths on that one. So we'll go ahead and black bomb this thing out with some Mod Podge and black latex paint. That kind of seals in all the foam, kind of prepares the surface, gives us nice shadows for our dry brushing. So I'm going to go around the edges here with some medium gray and then a little bit of green. We're going to put some flocking down on this too, so we'll get more color and texture. That's a medium brown going over all the woodwork. So I'm just dry brushing this over, really preserving that black undertone to give us all those good shadows. It's a really great technique. And then a little bit of brown around here. I wanted this to look kind of swampy, muddy. It kind of fits in with the dungeon tiles that I use for some of my scatter terrain. This is a really light brown, and I'm just kind of picking out the details, making sure I get it on the edges. So just layering in these colors, and then I just tie in those colors into the base too. This is a really light beige color. The color is actually parchment. It looks a little frosty right now, but once it's dry and we go over it with our washes, it'll dull it down some. And then just dry brushing in a little bit of green. That'll give us a mossy, moldy look. Now let's get this thing with some washes. This first wash, I'll go over the whole piece with this. It's burnt umber acrylic ink mixed with water. And you could put a couple of drops of dish soap in there. I use jet dry, and that breaks down the surface tension, lets it flow, keeps you from getting bubbles. A little true green mixed with water, 50-50, give us that grassy undertone. And then a little Vallejo rust wash here and there just to add a little contrast, red color. Now I'm going to paint this out with PVA glue. That's just straight out of the bottle. And then I'll sprinkle on some fine flocking. It's Woodland Scenics. Fine flocking will be the first layer. There's our rotten plank coming along there. You give that a good liberal coat. Tap off the excess. Tappity tap, tap, tap. There we go. Got our grassy areas. Now we need more texture in there. It's kind of flat looking. Right here inside the shed, I'm using up some chopped up moss. And then I'm going to go over it with some medium flocking. That's another Woodland Scenics product that I use. That'll give us a little thicker texture here and there. Kind of breaks it up. Just pressing that in. I'm going to put a little vining on the edge of the shed. That's some chopped up preserved lichen. It works really good for making vines. Now let's put in some clump foliage. I'm going to use some static grass that I made. Nice big chunk of it there. And I'm just hot gluing these down. You can use PVA glue. It's actually probably better as you don't get those glue strings. But I like my builds to move along pretty quickly. I thought I needed a little bit more detail here, so I put a coil of line and a couple of floats. And just tack those down. I just made those floats with a little bit of pink foam. Pushed a needle through the middle to pull that string through. There we go. A couple more little bushes and this piece is done. Let me spin it for you and give you a good look at it. This is the fishing shack. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure you leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And subscribe to the channel if you'd like. I've got videos coming out almost every week. I've also started a Patreon page. The link is down in the description below. There's the piece with some dungeon tiles. So it fits right into the battle grid. It works out pretty nicely. Old dude's ready to catch some fish. Now let's go fishing, guys. Thanks for watching.